Right, well, here we are, lads. It's been a little while since we've been able to get around a table, want for a better word, and do this. We had planned to try and get down the man cave where Sean is now, as you can see. Unfortunately, technical problems put a kibosh on that, so we wasn't able to do that. But we did the next best thing. We penciled in a bit of time to have a chat about racing since we've not been able to do it for a while. So here we are. We're going to have a little discussion and then look at a brief look at the forthcoming Cheltenham meet, November meet. We're not going to obviously go into a huge amount of detail. It's still a bit too early at the minute, but we will take a quick look at a couple of the bigger races. Just picked out one or two. So we'll do that today, and then obviously we'll look at what we can do to get everybody around the table for something a bit more in depth, leading towards the Christmas festive period.
Get Mark back in as well.
Yeah, and get Marky back in as well. Yeah, unfortunately, not been able to join Mark today. He's got a few bits and pieces going on, so he's not been able to make it tonight. So then, lads, where are we going to start then? We're going to have a quick sort of just overview, shall we? Just to what went on with the flats. I know he wasn't massively active in the flats again. That was just difficult for a lot of us with bits and pieces going on. So, Jamie, you're the main flat representative tonight, so we'll let you sort of kick us off then, mate. What do you want to say then? Go on.
Yeah, it was a little bit. Some of it was okay. Some of it was a little bit not okay. There was a few horses have gone to stud now. So you had Bradsell gone to stud. City of Troy after the Breeders' Cup sort of disappointment. He's gone to stud now. And it was good to see that Blue Stocking's I think she's going to carry on training, and she won the Arc, which is good. And it was nice to see that Ralph Beckett had a really good purple patch through at the end of the season, winning some big races. And also you had with another flat was with one of the syndicates was Should Have Been a Ring. He's gone to stud in Ireland, and also the best. Obviously, the best smiler, I think, and a lot of people were mentioning it to the past weeks was Sharing. I was very lucky to see him race in the on Champions Day, and that was really, really good. The atmosphere was absolutely electric and really, really, well, they really just enjoyed that race. Sharing really put it to the sword and won very well. And then you got Kip Ross. Well, he'll be back in training again.
I was going to say he's sort of taken over the mantle, wasn't he? Want for a better word.
Yeah, he's taken the mantle of the old Yates. I don't know if he's still. I think he's still in the entire, or he's still still a cult. Kip Ross. So that'll be interesting. When he finishes like his last season. So yeah, that was all good. And then you see that Luxembourg's gone into the National Hunt stud sire routine for Coolmore as well. So he's been retired as well. So yeah, it was sort of up and down with the flat. You normally tend to have really good seasons. It's like peaks and troughs really, up and down like a roller coaster. But other than that, yeah, the flat was okay. It was a reasonable good season, I reckon. So that's the part of a few bits of the flat, really.
Yeah, I'll say I'm not. Me and Sean have obviously openly admitted that we're not the biggest fans.
No,
he's still racing the course. It's still interesting, but yeah, I just wasn't. It just didn't seem like dizzying heights. If you know what I mean, it wasn't like loads of hype around everything, cause like there has been in the past. But that might be just me. Maybe I just missed it. I don't know. But,
yeah. I think the best two meetings out the season, I think, was the Ascot meeting. Obviously, Royal Ascot. I mean, there were so many Group 1s and listed races, and that was really good this season. And I thought this year the Jumpman International at York, I thought that was really good this season. And York won their what was it? They were racetrack of the year. So they've done. They always do tremendously well with their prize money and things like that. But yeah, both tracks, Ascot and York, were right up there with the festival meetings anyway. So
yeah,
that's all I can say really.
Okay, all right. So what do we want to move on to next then, lads? Do we want to? You got anything you want to talk about that's been in the news or?
Jamie?
Well, what was it? There wasn't the best broadcasting for ITV Racing, really. They show them not a showpiece, but one of their races where it was a walkover with was it Captain Teague actually be on the walkover, and there was discussion about the ground where it's just too dry. But well, some of the trainers were sending their horses and racing them on good ground, like Brentford Hope, who doesn't really like a bit of the touch of the fast stuff, but he likes a bit of cut in the ground. But he ran really well on the elite. But it was sort of safe ground. It was just unfortunate with the walkover. I think
it's a
just
rinse and repeat problem, though, isn't it, Jay? As you touched upon,
yeah.
Sean, you just can't please all the people all the time, and we've seen a few comments, haven't we, online and that, and Sean, you was pointing out, the chat, or Jamie, you shared it. Sean, you elaborated to it, about the fences, recently, they're not national fences anymore, and it's like, well, yeah, but if we ain't got the horses, we ain't got a sport. Do you know what I mean? And it's only done for the well-being of the horses. So
yeah,
I'm gonna say I'm a relatively new fan. A lot of people have been fans for God knows how many years and generations. You know what I mean? I am the only racing fan in my family. Do you know what I mean? In theory, obviously my cousin, but other than that, I don't really know anyone that takes an interest in it whatsoever, really. And so I'm not one of these people that remembers like you will, Jamie. The great national races of like in the 80s and 90s and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I'm a relatively new fan, so I don't really get the whole, well, they're not the same fences, it's not the same race. You know what I mean? It's as long as it's competitive, then that's all you want, isn't it? Surely.
Yeah.
Well, it's like with anything. Everything evolves.
Yeah, of course it does.
Unfortunately,
yeah.
you have to move forward. You can't keep to the same fences. You can't keep to the same. It's the same with anything. It's
people
the same
don't
with
sit there and
football.
go, the Premier League's rubbish because them leather balls don't weigh 10 tons, do they?
Yeah, they're not made of pigskin anymore. Yeah, everything evolves.
I don't really get what detracts from the sport because of it.
I mean, it's just opinions, isn't it? Everyone's got this. We were saying just beforehand, there's no right or wrong answer. There just isn't, because the horse welfare surely should be number one.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
That's theoretically. Yeah. If a trainer comes out and deems it not safe, whether we like it or not, whether that's what it is. So if it's not safe and they run it, something happens. My God, uproar. Twitter goes mental for no apparent reason. We've been over this before. If they don't run and pull them out for safety because they want them to have a longer career and a more interesting festive period, give them a chance at Cheltenham, which is what we all, whether people like it or not, we allude to, right? People speak up when they. I mean, you're getting talks of flat horses for derbies and stuff like that for next year. That's the exact same as saying that Cheltenham isn't the Oracle. It is. End of. Doesn't matter what way you spin it. It really is. I know there are other meets. I love other meets. There are some that I prefer over Cheltenham sometimes, but that is the pinnacle. That's where these trainers want their horses to go.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, if there was only a 3-horse race anyway, where the favourite that was the walkover was the only one still standing, was a 1 to 2, 1 to 3 favourite. These people are moaning from their wallets, and if you are stupid enough to back a 1 to 3 anyway, that's a you problem. The horse, well, from my point of view, I get it. It wasn't great watching for ITV. I appreciate that. I want more competitive races over here because the Irish just take the liberties when they come over.
Well, yeah, I mean,
of course you do.
I don't really know how they do it because, like I say, nearly every card they have out there is, normally a bumper card and plenty of runners. And
it's brilliant. And it's a great watch. I agree. We all watch it at Naas, Gorham Park, Navan. We all, frankly, love those sort of meets. And yes, we'd want more over here. That's not the case, and it hasn't been for about 5 years. So this isn't new. What happened on Friday?
I've got a funny feeling because of this walkover, and I'm going to link to it with the lack of runners, i.e., the novice. Take away the betting object. It's to do obviously with the handicap. It's the ratings of the horses that we haven't got enough horses in the UK population. And
Yes,
for
to be able
me,
to get them.
for me, I think the handicapper is exaggerating
Mm.
or putting a massive mark, so it try not to run again in them particular novice races or listed races.
Mm.
You know, I think in my mind, I think the handicapper is just seeing something completely and utterly different than towards what the trainer is seeing, or what
Mm.
I would say, not pundits, but also the racing people are watching, because I think the handicappers are starting to over bubble their handicap
Mm.
marks
The
when they win
ratings.
their races, and that's
Yeah,
why you're getting a
they're
lack.
not too realistic, are they? If you know what I
No,
mean.
and you're getting a lack of runners in
Mm.
novice races where you're getting four runners, five runners. I
Mm.
mean, even today there was because I was having a little bit of a little bet, and you're seeing like five runners, six runners, three
Mm.
runners. I mean, with that listed race in the elite the elite race where Brentford Hope and Ruban raced together, and
Mm.
I've forgotten who run the third horse. Um, they've got to be Wincanton's got to be a little bit careful now, or the handicap's got to be a little bit careful, because I think the pattern company, or the pattern who's going to sort out the races, will take that listed race away from Wincanton on that elite, and it's really, to be honest with you, it should be a premier handicap race then,
Mm.
because
Mm.
you can't keep having three or four runners every year. And then
No.
like in the Sefton, okay, it was competitive in the on at Aintree. There was about 11 or 12 runners, but in previous years, you see um, 18 runners, 20 runners,
Mm.
Mm.
17 runners, not 11 or 10. Okay, that was great. That every runner stood up, and that was fantastic. That was really good. But I would like to see more than 11 runners,
Mm.
because the
Mm.
handicapper is starting to overblowing the handicap
Mm.
marks of the right of the runners. Because
Yeah.
like Nicky Henderson said, I've got so many novice races. They should really do what Ireland do, just have like just a beginner's chase with, not novices, just
Mm.
beginners.
Mm.
That's why you're going to get you get a reasonable amount of runners in that particular race. But
Yeah.
then people are saying there's too many races or too many race courses. But
Again, but that just shows, Jamie, that you're damned if you do. You can't.
yeah,
People are going to moan.
Mm.
Like obviously we won't get too bogged down in it, because this could
yeah,
rile me up for ages. Because the second something just minorly inconveniences someone on Twitter, and that thing that you sent us all yesterday, the dumbest thing that you could ever see is someone
Mm.
actually complained that all of the horses finished the race.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
mean, if that doesn't show incompetence in the sport and the wrong drive, then I don't know what does.
Mm.
Like I say, I don't want to get too bogged down in it, because those sort of people I don't feel reflect the sport. They really don't. But
yeah,
to actually complain that all the horses got
Mm.
round,
Yeah.
that's where we're at. So do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I don't like to go into it, because
no.
you're never going to please anyone. You're not. We could debate this for hours, and someone
Mm.
will
But
still complain that we
I,
were too
yeah,
long, or the
I still
lighting
say that.
wasn't right. It's you
Yeah,
know what I mean. It just shows where with the level
I,
we're at.
I still, I still think, and I still think the handicap was overblowing these
Yeah,
horses for their handicap marks. It's
Mm.
just
that is. But
where,
again,
and
fundamentally,
then,
that's something that needs to be looked at with
yeah,
inside the jockey club and stuff like
and
that.
then yeah, yeah, and then you're not getting competitive races where you're only getting three or four runners. There
Yeah, of course.
should be 10 runners.
Mm.
Mm.
But anyway, on we go.
I was just looking at the way they've jumped Glyn's mark up already.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah,
he
do you
went
know
he
what I
went
mean? That's
he went from 1-2-1. Obviously, had a couple of good results, three wins, and then he finds himself on 1-3-7, and then the following two races have got about 4 or 5 runners in it.
Mm.
You know,
yeah, that is a that is a there's a word that I cannot remember, I can't think of, but
mm.
there's your argument. There's
Yeah, the
your, you know,
exaggeration. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So blame the handicappers.
Okay, all right. So should we have a quick look at the first race we were going to do then, lads?
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely. Some
So
races.
we'll start with the Albert Bartlett Novices Hurdle, shall we then?
Can
yeah.
do. Yep, by
Why
all
not?
means.
Well, where do you want to start then, boys? Obviously, say, I mean, it's still a bit early doors, as you say, but at the moment you've got a fairly reasonable field there, Jay. It's not too small at the minute. Obviously, things can change.
Yeah,
At the moment you've got Dan in there with a favourite. Dan Skelton's got the favourite. What's that? Valgrand, by the looks of
Well,
it.
grand, isn't it?
yeah.
Um, Elliott's looks like he's got a runner over it, or a couple at the minute.
I think Elliot's sending a lot over because he's got all Delta work and that, hasn't he? They're all coming over conflated in the old Glenfarclas cross
No
country.
Mullins, as I pointed out, he's been a bit of a quiet start, hasn't he?
If you have a look, I don't think he's sending anything over for Cheltenham. The
Right,
November.
okay.
But anyway, we'll talk about this one anyway because I actually quite like Potter's Charm for Tristan Davis. I think he's had a fantastic start. He's one of those that he's had quite a strong start to the season. Again, one of those that I suppose you could argue the weather and the ground has suited. Which again, that's what happens, isn't it? Really, you get the boggier weathers where it will suit the Venetia Williams on a really wet, heavy Saturday at Haydock or somewhere like that. This is how it works. It's how it works, though, isn't it? And that's the whole point of these plotting. So, yeah, I mean, I've not had the deepest of looks as well. It's still quite obviously novice-y, obviously the novice hurdle. So it's still very open to what will be there. But yeah, I think Potter's Charm, decent bit of form going into it.
He's got form there, hasn't he? You know what I mean? He's so he won the Alistair Down Press Room Novices Hurdle there back in October.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, along with Val Grand, obviously they're both going to be carrying a hell of a weight. So, but not a hell of a weight. It's not much of a difference, if truth be told.
No,
he's got a lot in there,
everybody else.
So, yeah, so I think Potter's
I
Charm sticks out for me.
I mean, I picked out a couple in the field if they do run or not. I thought Gal Marler with Anthony Keatley, that was, with his form, finished second at Cheltenham, and I think he finished second. He finished behind that Dan Skelton horse, wasn't it?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, just looking. Yeah.
And then I've looked at Flying Fortune.
Only made all that day, Valgrand, which is not easy to do around Cheltenham.
No, definitely not, especially at Cheltenham. And then Flying Fortune and Vanilla Saxo. The two I looked at as well. So there's quite a lot of. There's going to be a big field. I would say. I'm touching wood. Hopefully, there's going to be a big field.
Yeah, like I say, looking at the form, I mean, again, they've all got the right numbers in the right columns.
Yeah.
Interesting why they make Potter's Charm such a big price, Sean.
Like you say, like there's quite a few trainers have done really well so far. Like Nigel Twiston Davis,
he's doing all right, hasn't he?
Ollie Murphy, and even like Harry Denham. He's doing
well, to say it's normally, isn't it? We are in that territory of where, dare I be disrespectful for a second, but where the smaller yards tend to gather their numbers,
Yeah.
And you tend to see your Hendersons, your Mullins, your Elliots, your Nichols. They tend to sort of build towards,
Yeah. I mean that Kim Bailey, that Kieto Canty, that was really, really impressive at Ascot. That was really, really good. So you keep an eye out on like Kim Bailey's and things. He had a runner at Foslas today and finished second, where he hit a couple of was it hurdles or fences, and he finished second. So keep an eye out on Kim Bailey because he'll have some good runners.
What about yourself, Glenn? Anything stick out?
Well, I say, when you look at that, what they're saying about Valgrand, I must admit, I didn't see it. I've been a bit busy, but I don't remember it. But obviously he's won very well. And then, of course, as you say, Jay, second was Gal Marler. So you sort of think, well, how's Gal Marler a little bit further down? You know what I mean? If you're rating Valgrand, you know what I mean? And Gal Marler was the closest that day. Why is there a few others ahead of Gal Marler? So that's an interesting one.
Yes.
As you say, Sean, you're pointing out Potter's Charm there. You know, big price there at the minute.
That's what I was alluding to. I think Val Grand, I think we can all admit, was a hell of a convincing winner a few weeks back. It's how much does it take out of a horse to go quite close back to back at Cheltenham?
Yeah, and as you say, it's around Cheltenham of all places. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a couple of those that are going again. I know in the Slur Chase you've got Calico, haven't you, for the Skeltons, who was fantastic a couple of weeks ago. It depends, doesn't it? So Val Grand, I think it's a fantastic horse, and for the future, and looking forward to the season, I think could have quite a positive season.
Yeah.
Ahead.
I think they'll be running on the old course. Is it the old course?
Yeah, it looks like it,
yeah. For this these three meetings on the old course, so that'd be interesting as well.
Yeah.
So those are the three. Those are the three I picked out anyway. Garlamala, Flying Fortune, and Milano Sexo.
Potter's Charm for me. A little bit of an each way nibble.
Yeah, as I say, it's still very early in it to.
Yeah, of course it is.
Pick them per se, but Garlamala, I would say, like I say, Jay, definitely worth a shout. I say my only concern was why would you put Garlamala down in sort of like fourth or fifth favourite when it was the nearest challenger to. I mean, it was a long way. Don't get me wrong. Looking at that, it was 17 lengths, but and that was favourite that day. But as you say, Sean, could be just sort of coming to the boil at the right time for,
of course,
a Val Grand sort of thing, for this race. So there's a few there you could pick. I think,
of course.
I wouldn't say one or t'other, if you know what I mean. Really, I must admit I don't know a lot about that Flying Fortune. Looks like it might have even changed hands since its last race. Is that right?
Not sure on that one. I've not
running a different colour silks according to what's penciled in for that race. Looking at if you're on a racing post and you look at the horse itself.
Oh right, interesting. I'll have a look.
Well, changed trainer, but that was back in June. But that's the Peter. No, that's just a changing around of the yard by looks of it. And because it was under Peter Bowen. It's now under Peter and Michael Bowen. So that's probably just changing of names on the books, but
yes.
I say not anything particular I chose. I say I've not really had a great chance to look, to be honest. I'm completely honest with you lads, but a couple of interesting runners there, and then, like I say, the season is warming up, as they say, isn't it?
Definitely.
All right. Well, another one, obviously, we have to really mention, don't we? The great John Bon. Very fortunate to be able to see him recently again in the Slur Chase. Make sure I put my teeth in to say that. So do we really go beyond John Bon then? We can't really, can we?
Not really. I know you've got Edward Stone in there, who we know, fantastic horse in his own right. I suppose the only thing with John Bon is 4 runs at Cheltenham, only 1 win, 3 seconds. Can be a bit...
off-putting,
but has had 2-3 solid seasons now where you think that, is this the season where he comes into his own, goes and obliterates, goes and puts Mullins in his place over 2 miles, goes and El Fabiolo and completely puts him in his box. Just like we've been waiting for a completely consistent season for John Bon.
Yeah,
like you want that unblemished season, which there's always, for some reason, like last year where he absolutely clattered the fence and still managed to finish second, but it's still a second as opposed to winning the race,
Yeah.
So I don't think you see past him here. I do think as good as Edward Stone and Boot Hill are in their own right, and Matata and Master Chewy fine, Calico as we mentioned, but if the John Bon that had a little wander round the 7 boroughs that we saw when we were up there a few weeks back turns up, then it will just be a fantastic watch. If personally.
Yeah, well, we didn't get that matchup, did we? You know what I mean? What with Nicky withdrawing at Cheltenham,
of course,
because of the issues they were having at the time, and then obviously we all, like many, were on the treble probably. Just waiting for the foregone conclusion of El Fabiolo to walk it home for us and bring it home. And the unbelievable happened, like,
these things happen, don't they? That's jump racing.
We
though,
all
isn't
remember
it?
Cheltenham just falling silent, really.
Yeah.
Disbelief. So yeah, obviously, let's hope maybe we get to see that match up again at some point this season.
Which I think we will.
Boot Hill, good old servant Boot Hill, Master Chew, as you say, John. But yeah, I mean, you'd like to think that if the real Slim Shady or the real John Bond, please stand up. You know what I mean? We should we shouldn't see too many issues, should we? Really?
No.
But of course, it's racing, isn't it? And things can happen. But
yeah,
and he's still quite not an enigma because we know what we get with John Bond. But at the same time, he's always capable of putting in that little bit of an exuberant jump where it's either too close or he overstretches or there's always something about him.
I think it's in his character.
Appealing.
Do you know what I mean? I don't know if it's trainable. If you know what I mean, I just think
that's what I mean. That's what's appealing, though. Do you know? That's why you kind of get on the tail of that sort of horses because you don't know what you're really going to get. So, but I think for this race alone, I think he should. I think it should be a nice season opener, a nice break into a nice leg stretch for him. So,
I mean, John Bond's related to Duvan, isn't he? I think he is, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, he looks marvellous when we saw him at Seven Barrows, and then Nicky was explaining his path to his for his going to Cheltenham and obviously he mentioned the Slur Chase and Edward Stone. It's sort of a fact-finding mission for him. I think he's been good. He was very good when he won his particular race at Cheltenham, but then it's all of a sudden gone a little bit backwards for him.
I was going to say, Jay. Obviously, you've always generally liked Edward Stone, and and stuck your guns on it. Do you think he might have had his day in the elite pages of the paper? Do you know what I mean?
It could, it could have done. I think Alan King is, he's not a terrible trainer.
No, of course not. No, I'm not saying he is, but
I think he did. He have his son on the day when he won it. Is it the Arkle? He won the
won the Arkle 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2 years ago. Could it made a mark of him where he ran his next race and it sort of never done. It could have been. I think. How old is he now? Is he a 10-year-old?
He is, yes, yeah.
10-year-old. So he's still got age, experience, and age on his side. He can still run at 11. But I'm just wondering, is the Slur Chase is a good starting point for him? The one that I'll be looking at and will be interesting is Calico. He was impressive. Did he win at couple of years ago or a year ago or something like that in Warwick in a very small race at Warwick? And you can't underestimate Dan Skelton's string at the moment because he really wants to get that championship back and he wants to win it because he was almost there, wasn't he? And when he Mullins, took his spot off, sort of thing. But I would like to see John Bond there. But with Edward Stone, he's a very good jumper. It's like you say with the Slim Shady. Can the Edward Stone please stand up? You know what I mean? It's going to be interesting, and it's going to be interesting how many runners are going to run in that Slur Chase as well. They not tend to be quite a lot of runners in that particular race. I remember, I remember a race where Sprinter Sacra won by 10 lengths, and you had Mad Moose absolutely got left at the start.
Yeah.
And then he runs on and finishes second behind Sprinter Sacra. So you know,
I mean,
Look,
we only
we
had
got
4 runners, didn't we, the other year? You know what I mean?
to be honest with you, lads,
So.
we've got all week and Thursday and Friday to build up for people to moan and bitch about that because it's going to happen anyway.
It
Yeah,
will,
I'd
yeah.
rather just talk
that was
about
a
the horses that might
that
run.
was that was a great result with Sprinter Sackler winning by 10 or 12 lengths. That was
Yeah.
absolutely
But
fantastic at that year.
that just shows it happens, though, doesn't it? And let's be honest, there's a chance that the field will get whittled down. There are some that we
Yeah.
speak about won't run, and people will just continue to moan.
Yes.
Frankly,
That is
but
true, mate, yeah.
I, to be honest, I enjoy the sport. I block it out. Don't care.
I do.
Mm.
Can we
Do you
go
know
on
what
to
I mean?
Saturday then?
Yeah,
Mm.
but yeah, Saturday, yes. What is it? The Gold Cup? Is it the Paddy Power Gold Cup?
Yeah, we'll
Paddy
go with
Power
that one
Gold Cup.
first then, the Paddy Power Gold Cup, yeah.
Well then, Jamie, how many of the 25 have you got?
God. There's two that I like. The two that I like, which are the same trainers, Jamie Snowden, and now
Ooh.
he's done quite well. If they run and they get well, I mean, Galore finished second at Chepstow, and I think he'll do. I think he'll run well at Cheltenham if he runs in the Paddy Power. And
Consistent.
then and then you got Colonel Harry, and I think Colonel Harry won the was it the Cool Gold Cup or the old Hennessy Gold Cup
Hennessy,
in
wasn't it? Yeah.
the old Hennessy at Newbury. He finished second on his one of his like his first outings. I think he finished second. So I like them two. And then Ben Pauling's horse, Shake 'em Up Harry. Be good to see Harry Redknapp.
Yeah. Back
You
at
know,
Cheltenham.
get back in Cheltenham and have a winner there.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the three that they sort of, you know, I didn't look at the form or nothing like that, but the entries and them three stood out. Galore, Colonel Harry, and Shake 'em Up Harry. I mean, Shake 'em Up Harry run quite a few times at Cheltenham and done quite well. So
Yeah, nice price
always
to
seems,
take them out area at the minute.
yeah, I mean, it always seems to me that some of the runners that obviously it's course form on Cheltenham. If they've run at Cheltenham a few times and they've done a reasonable good form, then I reckon you should have a little look at it and have a little, you know, a squeak sort of thing. Like I think Galore and Shake 'em Up Harry, really, like them three that I've mentioned. You've got a couple of Irish traders. Is it Janadil?
Yeah, Janet's got it in there as well, yeah.
You got is it Seddon? No, Seddon's won at Cheltenham before. Seddon, and then you got is it Harturi Dark or Hartur the apostrophe ARC. I'm like bullseye with the Billy with bullseye with the big ball walking around with a dictionary. And then you got is it Visionarian? Visionarian?
Not seen that one.
Visionary,
Oh yeah,
Visionarian.
Yeah, Visionarian. That's it. Thank you. I can't speak in English. So there's a couple of Irish raiders there that I had a look. They've came out. They stood out as well. So I think that'll be a good race as well. The Paddy Power Gold Cup.
Yeah, it should be. I'd say it's generally a good race, isn't it? I noticed you got Stage Star in now.
Good old Stage Star with the OGs.
Yeah, you
know, I don't see him running.
You don't think it'll go?
I can't see him.
I think Stage Star will come out at Christmas. I think had his already had a run, haven't we? Was from Stage Star this season.
Yeah,
that was much fire, really. But
that's it. Wasn't a bad run. He's not. It's never struck as the sort of horse that can just adapt straight into a season. Evolves into a season, if that makes sense. So I don't see him running on Saturday.
Would you be surprised?
Probably will be.
Would you be surprised because Paul Nicholls' horses need a second run, don't they?
I wouldn't be surprised because obviously he's a more than capable horse at Cheltenham. We're talking a festival winning horse at Cheltenham, so it wouldn't surprise me. I just don't think that. I think it may come too soon at the moment for him. But again, if he does run, he stands as good a chance as any in that field.
Just like just humorous. I've just looked at the race we just said, where Stage Star's first attempt. Whoever writes his racing post must be an Ahoy Senior fan, because everybody else has got one text line to actually tell you how they got on in that race.
Top
But
boring
my
text.
video's got about 6 lines. Like literally, I was like, oh, that's a, like my screen's playing up. I was like going to refresh it, but like, no, they've literally got about 6 lines of how his race developed and went on. Everybody else has got one text line. Anyway, so I digress. Yeah, but yeah, as you say, Jay, it's quite a lot there to look at in a minute, isn't there? Really.
Yeah.
I mean, got the old boy there, or a bit of an old boy there, Protectorat as well.
Yeah, Protectorat.
El Ridoto as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's some good form in the past.
I mean,
not been so great of late, but
I think you're going to see a few horses now with trainers are going to be. They're going to start moving their chest pieces around now after the paddock.
Yeah.
It's going to be like like Bishop goes to,
Yeah, I know what you're saying, mate. Yeah. I mean, I say I've got to be honest. One that most jumps out to me really is, like I say, is can sort of Garlaw sort of reimagine some of that a good form that is in the book in the past.
Yeah.
Can Jamie get him right, like
I think he can. He's done that. He's done that quite well with that mare that he had. Oh God, can't remember the bleeding name of the horse, but he's a very good trainer, Jamie Snowden.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, he did win the Paddy Power Gold Cup back in 2022.
Yeah.
At Cheltenham, and then you think, well, okay, that, you're looking at form there, and then obviously things didn't quite work out in the Ryanair.
The wheels sort of fell off with Galore, and on that one. But then like with all other horses, some of their forms all like fall to pieces, and then they've come back stronger.
Yeah, well, so you say won that Gold Cup, and then went on the sort of went into that Ryanair as an outsider, but with good form in the book, and then sort of was 41 and was fifth. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose combined, you could say only 9.5 lengths away from Boy Allen, so it wasn't like the worst run in the world, but really that from that moment onwards, it's been sort of a real downward sort of dip, but has come back this year, as you say, Jay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
First run out actually won back at Cheltenham again, so you can't argue with that.
No, like you say, the Cheltenham form.
Yeah, then pulled up. That would be the worry. And pulled up, in 24.
Yeah.
Again in the Ryanair, but yeah, you know what I mean. I don't think that horse is a slouch by any means, and
no,
maybe that October run, put him right for this race.
Is there any other horses you in the field there we can mention, or?
Yeah, let's go champ. Let's go champ for the Bromhead, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah, already had a few of these from the Irish lot. I know he's had Seddon. I think Seddon was 24 lengths behind him a couple of weeks back, or whenever it was. No, end of last year. Obviously, he hasn't had a run yet.
Yeah.
But last run was at Galway. I'm assuming in the Galway Festival because it was in July. The horses in front of him, Zanier, Duffel Coat, Chemical Energy, all Mullins, all Elliott, Life in the Park. Wasn't far off of them. I mean, he finished sixth in a race where they were all in front and was only 8 lengths behind the winner. So wasn't a million miles.
Yeah, I was saying, I'll be honest, bad.
I'll be honest, no Cheltenham form, but with
you never know.
With someone like the Bromhead, that's the only one for me. I know we've all mentioned the Garlaws and that and El Ridotos, but the one that stood out to me was definitely Let's Go Champ, if I'm honest. But that's the only one for me on that one.
Yeah, funny. I mean, at the moment, it's quite a big field, so I'm sure that will whittle down a little bit. But
oh yes,
oh yeah.
But
anyway,
yeah, it's looking quite competitive at the minute. Do you know what I mean? So I think you could make a squeak for quite a few of them.
Beauty of it.
Obviously, we're not really even mentioning Ginny's Destiny, which is a favourite at the minute. But again,
that'll be heading to the Welsh Grand National. Ginny's Destiny.
Yeah,
like Trackers Lodge.
yeah, as always, yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, there's a few good chats in there, boys, isn't there, in a minute? So,
There
yeah.
is
okay, all right. Well, we
one
said we'd
more.
look at one more. We look at the Greatwood.
Yeah.
Do you want to have a chat then, Sean? Start this one.
Skelton's Willie the Builder is the one that stood out to me. Again, we don't know who's going to be running. A lot of these have had a run a few weeks back, so we're talking literally the beginning of November. I think well, last weekend wasn't it? Willie the Builder was it last weekend?
Yeah.
Well, we at the 9th, 10th. So yeah, it was a very convincing win. I would argue it wasn't the strongest field, but they all need to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? You know, they're not going to put them in the toughest races in the first return back. So, yeah, I do. I do quite like that. Willie the Builder in this one again, depending on who runs. Obviously, you got a list as long as your arm at the moment, haven't you? So you
Yeah,
got
yeah. I'm
Burdett
just
Road.
scrolling down and down and down and down.
See what I mean? You've got Burdett Road in there, Affordil, who is obviously scheduled elsewhere. So Dicer Enios as well, which is quite an interesting one. If Fergal's keen. So yeah, Dicer Enios and Willie the Builder for me. So Skelton and Fergal.
Well, you got Jinko Blue there for Nicky as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That
Big
list is as
price,
long
but
as
that's
your arm,
probably
innit?
because of pulled up basically, probably in the well,
Yeah.
there's no saint of losing in a race at Ballyburn's one, but obviously didn't quite go right that day. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Yeah.
But again, this is another one of those races that we could just be throwing arrows. Do you know?
Yeah.
Just for the time being. Do you know what I mean? We're talking
Do you know
Wednesday.
what?
We'll
Do you know
get a
why? 'Cause it's a
clearer idea.
handicap, and I like a handicap race.
You
Oh,
do.
yeah,
Ah,
So you've
yeah.
probably picked out about 15. We probably should have limited this recording, by the way, James.
Yeah.
I've got work tomorrow at 6. So,
The old Noel
oh,
Film
mate.
Syndicate got Hansard
Um,
in there as well.
so there's a couple that took my eye.
Hmm.
Break My Soul finished second at Ascot and got beaten by Nose. That with Nicky Henderson. The one that you mentioned as well, Dysart Enos. That'll be interesting. First time out for Fergal O'Brien. Done very well last year. Obviously had a setback on the injury. She should do, quite, do well again this year. Be interesting. The one also took me eye on the entries was Sam Thomas's trainer, Lump Sum, winning at Foss Lass, and he's got good form behind him as well. And obviously Sam Thomas won the Badger Beer Ale yesterday in the same owner's colours of Al Dancer.
Yeah, I'll
Winning
say,
top weight.
I'm just looking at that race, and the race that, the only real blip in the coffee book, want for a better word, Jay, is the fifth at Aintree, which was won by Mystical Power, and and Firefox was second. So again, it's a fifth, but it's a sort of a non-disgrace fifth. You know what I mean?
No, I mean the form. I had to look at Lump Sum. I had to look at just had a quick look at the form, and had some good form there. And
you
and
take
you
that one
couldn't
out,
really.
Jay. I think that's a reasonable shout there, mate.
And also you can't really discredit Sam Thomas because he's a Welsh Grand National trainer winner, and he's a Badger Ales winner. And that Al Dancer was impressive. They went like an absolute scolded cat. He went out as an 11-year-old at top weight at 12 stone, and that was impressive. Even though he had had a claimer, you never know. He might have a claimer jockey for lump sum if he, you know. So that might be a big price as well.
I'll tell you one that just not for any reason other than he loves to plunder a race. Emmett Mullins has got a runner in now. You look at the form; it looks terrible, but he knows how to plunder a race here and there.
Yeah,
that man.
That's the same with Charles Barnes. Is it Charles Barnes? Is it Charles Barnes? I can't remember. He does running for Oscar or something. He normally does that. That trainer does that. He plots them all up for a massive handicap race and that. Yeah, Emmett Mullins. You've got to be careful with Emmett Mullins.
Yeah, I'll say, you wouldn't, like say, you're looking at the form, Djokovic Cavan or something it's pronounced, but it's like his form's like you know, 9, 2, 6, 8, 6, 8, 10, 6. You know what I mean? It's certainly
Lump
not one
on.
that. Hey, what'd you say?
Lump on.
Yeah,
Love
it's not.
on.
You know, it's not something like, you know, sounds like a passcode, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? but but yeah, you know what I mean. You can never, you can't count that man out because he's good at plunging the odd race here and there. I'll tell you that.
Mm, mm,
Um, yeah, break my soul for Nicky. Yeah, he's got an entry. I say,
Yeah,
I think that's a. Yeah, I think you could pick again. I think you could pick out quite a few there and make a good case for a few of them there.
yeah. And that
Um,
was the first. That was the first time run under Nicky Henderson because he was they got moved from either from Ollie Murphy's or Gary Moore's
mm,
yard and all that. And yeah, that was the first run for Nicky Henderson, and finished second. And thought he ran well. I think I backed that as well at on that day as well. Finished second by nose.
mm.
Interested. You got Lucia. It's last. We saw Lucia
Yeah,
in
we
our
did. Yeah.
little visit,
mhm,
and saying that it'll be last season. So
mm,
that was a bit of a hash of a mistake for Lucia at Wetherby in the mare's hurdle race.
mm. He was coming
She
there
was up there
strongly as
for,
well.
oh yeah, and then absolutely fluffed it.
Mm,
Um, fluffed the last hurdle. Obviously, jumping is the name of the game.
mhm,
I'm hoping that she's, you know, come back. Hopefully, there's nothing untoward
Mm.
from that run, and hopefully she gets an entry and get declared.
mm,
That was the same thing with the elite, actually, with Brentford Hope. That
mm,
was an absolute hash of a mistake, and it could have been right close, like you
mm.
mentioned to me, Glenn, about that. So jumping is the name of the game on the last hurdle.
Exactly. Yeah, it just wasn't as good at the last. And they say if he had, he definitely would have been closer. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Can't you know, can't put your hat on it and say well he would have won, but he
No, of
certainly would
course
have been
not.
closer.
No, but he's back.
Yeah, I think the
Glenn,
great was
back.
yeah.
All right.
But the Greatwood looks going to be another really good race.
Yeah, it
Good
does. It
race.
does. You know, on paper at the minute, you know, looking at the entries right now, it certainly does look like it's going to be a good one. You know, you can get
We
right
shall
down
Oh,
see.
to.
by the way, uh,
Come on.
a question because I've come back. Paul Nichols mentioned Ruban to go novice chasing. Do you reckon that's a backward step or a forward step?
Do you know what? It's difficult to say, isn't it?
Mm,
That's exact. I mean, that's the trainer's discretion, isn't it? That's down to they know the horse better than us.
yeah.
We can see it jump hurdles, and we can see it jump hurdles well and go away. If they've got scope, they'll put them over the larger.
But then, do you reckon that would be a lack of a lack of a lack of horses going in that 2 mile division?
So
Now
you think
Roback,
that he's not? So you don't think that the division's competitive enough? Because
I think
the only
I
argument
think
I'd have with that is I think it'd be a very risky, futile move to send a horse over the larger obstacles just to be a little bit more competitive. I think if he's better over hurdles, i.e., Constitution Hill, which they've already said won't go chasing, then you
Mm,
stick to where they're at. I think that this has got to be done from a basis that they think that Rubad is a chaser. It cannot be anything more than that. You cannot
yeah,
risk it if he's not capable just because he's not getting the game time. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
yeah,
It'd just be
yeah, yeah.
it'd be such a silly move. So again, you don't know, but we'll soon see over the next couple of months.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the
Well,
racing post. It's just a story about the race, basically. But I wondered if there was any more information on there. But
Not yet.
yeah.
no,
But
it doesn't.
yeah, coming back on Sunday on the
Mm.
Greatwood, I think that's going to be a very good race. Anyway,
I
so
think I
that
think the
thing,
November meet as a whole will be. It's always a good meet, anyway, isn't it? So
yes,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, is there anything else we wanted to really sort of cover? It wasn't really today, was it? Say because
no,
we're
not
still in
yet,
a position. It's still a little bit too early at the minute, but
of course.
fortunately, say we've had a few um things going on between the group, haven't we? So we've not really been able to sort of get our fingers into the pie, one for a better word, have we really
No,
this year? But I'm sure eventually things will calm down for everybody, and we'll be a bit more ready and to rock and roll when it comes to videos. But yeah,
We'll all be around that table next time.
we're trying to get back in the swing of things, aren't we? You know, it's just
yeah.
You know, what with things, and I've moved jobs again, and you know, and all that. You know what I mean? So it's all been a little bit stuff going on, isn't there? You know.
It will all be fine, sir.
Yeah, we'll get back into the swing of things eventually, won't we? But say it might just take us a little while to get to full speed, one for a better word, and jumping over those hurdles, like, you know.
Yeah. So subscribe, click on subscribe.
Yeah, give us a like, subscribe. Obviously, we're always welcome, and you know, check out YouTube, check out eBay for the the prints. We managed to sell 4 prints again at the weekend, which was good.
Marvelous
classics, if I remember rightly. Tiger Roll. I can't remember now. But of course, I remember definitely one was Tiger Roll, and Honeysuckle was one, and
that was it.
Yeah. I need to get a few more bits up around the place, so I might have to.
Also follow at Money Rider on
Twitter. Yeah, give us a follow. If you like this and you think we're a laugh, and we don't know everything, but we don't claim to know everything, but we certainly.
Oh, don't worry, Glenn. They'll tell us. People will tell us.
Yeah, of course they will. Yeah,
mate, you do not need to let them know. I can assure you, there will be nothing more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Than us popping up on some people's notifications over the next couple of days, and they'll be straight on those cables. Don't worry.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. So, well, if you've got anything that we haven't seen, and and you think they were shoe-in or whatever, even though it's early, say give us a comment down below, and let us know. So that'll do us then, boys. I'm gonna go and have a bit of dinner because I'm Hank Marvin now.
Yeah.
And I'll talk to you all again soon, lads. Take it easy, boys.
Cheers. In a bit, guys.
Thanks a lot.
See you later.
Cheers. Bye-bye.